The Princesses of All the Rands by Joquan Da Hooligan. The story of a group of cousins who are military commanders of a private military company called the Javhan Dominion Holdings Corporation. Their fathers and the mothers to the twins are leaders of the JDH. This is the next generation. The leader of this group is Naeja Marcia G. Rand, the daughter of Doyon Ghettofinger Rand and Quetta Aquaseus Rand, and her first cousin, both paternally and maternally, Naja Tuzila Rand, the daughter of Doyon Tazakai Rand and Quetta QG Rand. Then there's Bria Rand. She's the daughter of Doug Rand. And then there's the twins, Ruby and Jean. Once known as Little Ruby and Little Jean, no longer called that due to their vigorous objection and eventual coming up in rank. The twins are the daughter of Ruby Rand, who is the namesake of the Rand family patriarch Ruby Jean Rand. In honor of the Rand family aunt, she named her twins Little Ruby and Little Jean. Naja Marcia G. Rand is classified as A100 prime. This makes her a rarity amongst millions in the nation of Magni Maris 5. In 1989, her grandfather, Doyon Pops Rand Sr., along with her father, Doyon Ghettofinger Rand, became the primary A100 prime signatories on the Articles of Incorporation of the Javhan Dominion Holding Corporation. Tuzila and Bria are A100s. Like their fathers, although they are not primes, they are still a lethal force to be reckoned with. The twins, Ruby and Jean, are A25 operatives, not as strong as A100s, but offending them the wrong way just might get a car thrown at you. The twins often pull off high-stake heists with their cousin, Katari, another leading member of the JDH, with Jean acting as lookout as Ruby pulls death-defying acrobatical feats, gaining access to highly secured vaults, while Katari and his Captain Eddie Hard played the muscle role. Doug and Ruby never really gave much objection to their daughters joining the organization. Ghettofinger and Tazakai, however, never intended for their girls to be mercenaries. Marcia Gee was the first one to be of legal age to join the JDH at 15 Yeklin. Her father put up mild resistance to allowing them to join, before he conceded to the appeal of his younger brother, Mazikor. Around age 13, she began expressing interest in joining the organization due to the fact that both of her parents and most of her family were members of it. Ghettofinger would voice his objections. One day, while watching television with his brothers, a news story came on about a gun battle occurring in the Cheyenne district of the city of McFarland. Footage of unknown Jasper assailants in motorcycle helmets battling on a warehouse rooftop against Azurite forces. "Is that my damn daughter on the TV?" Ghettofinger announced. Despite the motorcycle helmet, he could positively identify his daughter, his niece, Tuzila, and several other unknown Jasper Street operatives. Despite his anger of his daughter going off to fight the Azurites behind his back, he couldn't help but be proud of the raw skill being displayed on the television screen. She had little to no weapon training, at least not from him. He could not deny that Kodos was dense in these girls. The twins, being the youngest, were the last to enlist and are currently serving as captains under their mother, Ruby Rand. But this story is not a military thriller. This story is about chocolate chip cookies and a big-ass jug of milk. General Doyon Ghettofinger Rand, fresh off of a mission from the Chadsi Condon district of the Surohira Desert with his lieutenant and sister-in-law, Quetta QG Rand. He was looking forward to some fresh baked chocolate chip cookies and a big-ass jug of milk. When he returned home from the mission and looked into the refrigerator, the cookies and the milk were gone. Immediately, he swept through the residential security footage of the dwelling, only to find a missing timeline from when he had left for his mission in the desert to shortly before he returned. "What the everlasting fuck is going on here?" he angrily yelled. "Ain't this a bitch? Looks like Oscar the Grouch is about to kick the shit out of the Cookie Monster." His youngest brother, Doyon Diggy Rand, was the prime red herring, but he doesn't have the expertise to replace footage from the specially encrypted surveillance system that was installed in leadership residence on the main campus compound. Diggy's best friend, Bud Flint, was technically savvy, but not that savvy. Besides, Bud wouldn't dare participate in such an egregious, dastardly deed such as stealing cookies from the head of the company. Okay, he thought to himself, maybe it wasn't those two, but who in the world could it be? Whoever it was, they would pay dearly. Angry at the fact that his intended return home snack was missing, he decided to prepare what he called a neat Joe, a concoction of ground hamburger meat, baked beans, sliced onions, and Cool Ranch Doritos with melted cheese. It would take more work than he intended to put in, but it would slake the beast in his belly roaring. As he stirred in the kitchen, dicing onions for his return home treat, his niece, Tuzzy La, walked past the kitchen in her pink bathrobe. "Where is your daddy at?" he asked, without looking up. "He's in the back watching TV," she answered. The general himself was too consumed by the munchies to give much concern to the hurried manner in which his niece answered the question. He half expected her to return his question with the question of, where was her mother? And with that, he would take the opportunity to pitch a bitch about the by-the-book methodology Lieutenant QG just took in the mission that they just returned home from. Rather than heading for the residence after a long day's work, she decided to go to her office in the hub and fill out situational reports. It was the perfect opportunity to share a laugh with his niece at his sister-in-law's expense. It bothered him a bit, but not that much, as he continued slicing his onions. He paused momentarily as his niece returned, standing at the doorway of the kitchen as if she was observing something. When he looked over to her, she walked over to the refrigerator, opened the door, and grabbed a cup of applesauce, then quickly closed the door and scurried off to the back of the residence. What the hell was that about? He thought to himself as he continued preparing his neat Joe. Tuzzy La entered Marsha Gee's bedroom and closed the door behind her. She almost gave us up. Who? Marsha Gee questioned, looking up from her tablet. Bria. She dropped a damn earring right in front of the refrigerator. Your father's in there right now. I kicked the earring under the fridge, hopefully before he noticed, but he's mad as hell about them cookies. Marsha Gee wickedly grinned as she thought to herself, I'm mad as hell we didn't get to those cookies sooner. Meanwhile, back in the kitchen, the general was putting his final touches on the neat Joe, carefully placing the cheese on top of the cooking ground beef, allowing it time to melt before he crumpled up his Doritos and placed them on top for the final mixture. As he placed the final slice of cheese on the burger, Bria, Little Ruby, and Jean walked in. A slight expression of surprise in their eyes as they walked past the kitchen, heading towards Marsha Gee's room. Interesting, he thought to himself, as he turned off his stove and grabbed a plate. I have a tendency to fuck this up sometimes, he thought to himself. So let me make sure I got this right. Ground beef, check. Baked beans, check. Onions, check. Cool Ranch Doritos, check. Ah, the ketchup. He opened the cabinet door. Damn it, man. How many times do I have to tell her? His daughter, Marsha Gee, loved ketchup just as much as he did. It went on potatoes, ham, eggs, and one time, a banana. An incident that everyone involved in agreed to never talk about again. Taking off his boots as he exited the kitchen on the way to his daughter's room, bitching and moaning all the way. I'm gonna stop her from eating in her room if she keep forgetting to put the ketchup back. As he opened the door to her room, all 5 of the girls looked up in shock. Y'all ain't in here watching no porn, is you? He said with a sarcastic smirk on his face. The girls wondered amongst themselves. Their father was a master tactician and interrogator. Is this some sort of mind trick? Does he know that it was us that took the cookies and drank the milk? He gazed upon the 5 girls with eyes as wide as those sad cartoon puppy dogs. He simply said, Where is it? Where is what, Daddy? Marsha Gee asked, in her most innocent, I didn't do anything voice. Apparently, neither party was privy to either party's true intentions. Where is the damn ketchup? The general said. We don't have any cookies. Little Jean suddenly said out loud. Who said anything about cookies? The general asked, slowly becoming aware of what was going on. She didn't say anything about cookies, Uncle Gettlefinger. Tazilla said, surrendering the bottle of ketchup on her cousin's drawer as she looked to Jean and Marcia Gee with a conspiratory gaze. What kind of kitchen wink scandal y'all trying to pull here? He said as he closed the door, heading back for his treat, when all of a sudden a familiar sound broke the silence. It was the sound of Gabriel blowing the trumpet, the sound of the chamber being depressurized, the sound of the cheese being sliced. He stuck his head back in the room. Did one of y'all just fart? Ladies, don't fart, Bria said, elbowing Jean, as if to say, shut the hell up. All of a sudden, another blast from the ass, another failed exit strategy. The cheeks had clapped in treason. Oh, I get it. I think I figured out the cookie wink scandal, the general said out loud in subtle realization. Marcia G., why don't you explain to the girls why your mother objects so strongly to me having milk and cookies before going to bed? Marcia G. sighed with a resigned look on her face. Because it causes nightly flatulence. The general was well aware of his methods in interrogation. When interrogating a group, always pick out the weakest link. He looked to little Jean. I've got baked beans and cookies and milk in my kitchen. Which one is missing, Captain? This just went from family to military rank too quickly for little Jean's taste. The cookies and the milk, sir? Who ate my milk and cookies? He said, wickedly gazing as he placed his elbow on his daughter's doorway. We did, sir. JDH royalty has betrayed the court, he said with a wicked grin on his face. It looks like our little princesses think that they can take the castle without consequences. Well, little princesses of all the Rands, guess what's about to happen next? Another fart betrayed them all. He nodded. Very well. 10 minutes later, the base echoed with chanting. The cousins ran laps around the Horizon Hub Center, arms pumping, faces red, shouting in unison. We are the princesses of all the Rands. Chocolate chip cookies don't stand the chance. Personnel paused to watch. A major saluted in confusion. A private took notes, unsure if this was a drill. From the doorway, Gettlefinger stood beside his wife, who looked at him skeptically. Is this really necessary? She asked. It's JDH custom sugar tits. You fight dickery with dickery. She nodded. Inside, the neat Joe waited patiently. He added ketchup, sat down, and took a bite. It tasted like victory. Outside, the chanting continued, fainter now, but enthusiastic. The general allowed himself a small smile. Order, after all, had been restored, but he was seriously considering getting a padlock for the kitchen